We're going to open them along the inner seam with our handy dandy seam ripper. So after opening up the seam, it is now time to close it back again in a different manner than it was closed before. So lining up the two front pieces, you want to make sure it's as flat as possible. And then what I did was, to get rid of that crotch extension, I followed the seam line from the top and I just pinned it down as straight as I could go. This was an experiment, so I was figuring out the construction as I went along. So the goal here was to create a straight line because we no longer needed the crotch extension. I did the same thing on the back as well. On the waist, because it is slightly too big, I put a hook and eye here. So now it closes up with it closes up like that. So I'm just gonna iron it out. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. I do kind of wish it was an A-line skirt because I do prefer those. Don't mind this top. I really don't want to wear a different one, but anyways. This is what I did to the front to make the waist fit. I'm thinking I might put something there to hold it. For now, it fluffs out. So here's the thing. Can you see? It's a pencil skirt. I really don't like it. So yeah, I'm gonna get another pair of pants. Hopefully the color matches close enough. Open the side and make it flare out. This is the bottom. And the slit in the back. I bought another pair of pants. And I want to add something to the side to give it more of that A-line shape that I like. I saw a video some time back about a pleated vent. Of course, the vent usually goes in the back of the skirt, right, for movement. But I'm gonna put it in the side of the skirt. I don't know. I think it would be a nice detail to have that pleat in the side. And I'm hoping that that will give me the A-line look. We won't know until we do it. Hopefully it does. So I'm gonna seam rip open the sides and we're gonna get into it. Okay, so I'm going to seam rip until about there. Let's see. About 4 inches below the end of the pocket. So I'm gonna mark that on both sides because symmetry. Let me continue seam ripping. So this is the length of the opening. I'm going to cut the second pant leg to match that opening in terms of length. I'm gonna cut the same thing on another side. This is the bottom of the pant leg, and this is the upper section, so where the thigh would be. It's much wider. I'm going to open up here. This is the inner thigh. So I'm going to attach the extra fabric. So with the wider part facing down, so this is the thigh section, this is the hem section, I'm going to attach it to the skirt. So with the wider part of the additional pant leg facing towards the bottom, I'm going to attach it to the rest of the skirt. Okay, so one side is pinned on. I'm going to pin the other side. So I've got it sewn on. This is the shape it creates. At this point where we've created this addition, I have sewn the side closed about an inch from the top over here. So about an inch. Okay, so what we're going to do is using our handy dandy itty bitty piece of chalk and a measuring tape. Okay, so this is about 10 inches. See that? 10 inches. So from this seam line, I'm going to mark 2-inch divisions. Now what I'm going to do is, using the longest stitch length, I'm going to stitch a basting stitch. So it's going to be a temporary stitch. We're going to remove it later. I'm going to stitch it down at those points. And then I'll come back to you. Basting stitches. There is no back stitch on the start or the bottom because we're going to remove them later. Where this line is that we've sewn, we're going to fold there and match up this point to the center there. And then iron down. And we're gonna fold all of the rest of them the same way. Center point. And that one. Then the last one. And don't hear me. So that's how it looks. Last thing I'm gonna do is sew the pleats down from the center this way and from the center that way to hold them in place. And that's that. I'm gonna repeat on the other side. Okay, so I tried it on, it was too bulky. So I'm gonna reduce the number of pleats. Same thing, doing the same thing, but 3 sections instead of 5 to make it less bulky. I'm gonna come from that point. So this band, so it's equal. So from there, I need 4 inches to be taken in. So that's 2 inches per side. So I'm just gonna mark 2 inches. So the mark on the end, holding it towards the belt loop. And I'm gonna do a ladder stitch to secure it. So coming from here, the opposite side. So you're gonna keep going back and forth until the end. Okay, so when I reach here, I'm gonna go in and come out from the inside because I also need to secure this down as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing. When I reach the top, we go into that fold there and we tie a knot. Okay. Then we put the thread in. And that hides our tail. Okay, so when you're threading your needle, you want to make sure that you do a double thread. You can use a thicker thread, but if you don't have a thicker one, you can double it. So what that basically means is you take a section, if my camera, then you fold it at that point. So that's now 2 strands. Then you put it through your needle. Oh, we got that on the first try. And then if you tie that, that will be a double thread. So there are 4 strands rather than 2 strands if you did a single thread. It makes the seam stronger, particularly if you are hand sewing.
Bye, have a great time.